Well, I'd like to build on what this gentleman said because that's a really good point. And I have to commend you so far because you've done a really good job of doing what I've seen other people not do so well in other clips I've seen of town hall meetings, which is start to say them, they, the Democrats, Republicans, whatever it may be, whoever. It seems like so often when you're in the middle of a debate, you actually start straying away from the debate with things like socialism written up there. I mean, I think some of the educated people in here could tell you that socialism and communism are two different things, but most people think Obama's both, or neither, or whatever you want to think. And it seems like if we had more people like you, more things would get done in this country. And I'd also like to comment on the news thing. I think you have to watch all three in order to get any kind of unbiased opinion, because in this day and age, and
what all three did you mean?
NBC, CNN, and Fox, the three I watch. But I mean, I watch.
You didn't mean NBC, CBS.
No, but I mean, it seems like in this day and age, in this culture, every channel you watch, people are screaming at you. And there is no such thing as unbiased news, and I'm a bit disappointed because at this rate, I'll never get to see an unbiased news station again my whole life.
Never was one.
That's probably true. I mean, everything from writing to TV has some sort of bias because there are people behind it. I just think it's important that the debate remains civilized and that there are so many bad things in this bill that the opposition's ideas can't be ruined by a few bad seats who do the wrong thing.
All right, very good, thank you. And that was a good point that you made also.
This is a little bit off the healthcare topic, but I think one of the biggest topics in America right now is the economy. And earlier this spring, we had a stimulus/support bill passed. And the rumors are that only about 15% of that has been spent even at this time. If you were elected, would you repeal spending the rest of it? And if so, how would you re-stimulate the economy?
I think the money that's sitting there should be kicked back, but it won't be. What it'll be used for, this is what I'm guessing, okay? Don't hold this to be a fact, but I think the stimulus money that's sitting there right now, it's going to come out about probably 3-4 months before next year's election.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's, I'm just being honest about it. You know, I was against the bailouts, and I'll tell you why. It's because I believe that if you just throw money at things, just toss it out there, and don't force the problem to be fixed, you just enable that situation. And I believe if Chevy would have been forced to do that, it wouldn't be government motors right now. And you know, I think it's really important. I mean, because we need to simplify this. It's kind of like if our car is leaking oil. We don't keep dumping that oil in there. We go to the garage, we fix the oil leak, and then we put more oil in it. You know, so I think if we get that idea under control with things, that would help quite a bit. Stimulating the economy would be definitely lowering taxes. You know, they continue to increase taxes. We can't take it anymore. We really can't as a country, you know, and it's been proven. You know, how much can we pay? We've got to stop increasing taxes. We need to bring, and that boosts the economy. It really does. I mean, people start selling stuff. I mean, just a lot of things happen by, can you imagine if that $787 billion would have got kicked out to small businesses across the entire United States? What would be going on right now with our economy? It'd be huge, trust me.
If they just bought new cars for everybody with it, they just solved General Motors' problem.
Yeah, for a month.
Yes.
We heard a history lesson from the gentleman back here about how the government or the politicians deceived the American people in getting the income tax passed. A lot of people believe that Franklin Roosevelt and his social welfare agenda of the 30s was designed to bring us out of the Depression. The truth was then, and Roosevelt himself admitted to it, was to create a permanent Democratic majority, to create a class or a subclass of people who were dependent upon the Democrats in order for the Democrats to stay in power for 40 and 50 years. I think we have to approach this saying, this is a pig in the poke. You know, I can't see it, but you want me to buy it, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying the government. I think we have to approach these things, and I don't mean to be obstreperous, but I think we have to approach these things from a somewhat skeptical point of view, because we were lied to about Vietnam, we've been lied to by the government time after time after time. And what was it Harry Truman said about Franklin Roosevelt was, the problem with the president is that he lies too much. And he did that, and people think he's this great hero. And he really wasn't. So I think that from our perspective as the people, we've got to approach this thing with some skepticism. Now, what I need to hear from you is that you're going to promise me that you're not going to serve any more than 6 terms. And you're not going to dedicate your life in Congress to pork barrel projects that will get you reelected. Because that's what the problem is in this country right now.
That's guaranteed. I don't plan on, I can see maybe being in there a total of 8 years. And the thing that's nice about me versus a lot of those guys in there, when I get all done, I got a job to go back to.
You mentioned the Second Amendment. You said you'd uphold the Second Amendment. One of the problems I think we have in Congress and now is that everybody takes, before they take office, they take an oath to the U.S. Constitution. But it seems like, regardless of party, it seems like they all tend to forget the 10th Amendment. Will you make a statement that you'll be as strong in the 10th Amendment as you are in the Second Amendment? In other words, items that aren't in the Constitution basically go back to the states. You know, powers that...
Power to the people.
Right. To the states or to the people. That's exactly right.
I believe that government should be this big, and the majority of it should be the state. So I would go along with that definitely.
Thank you, thank you. And the other item I had was the gentleman mentioned about you know, needs for people. And one possible solution to that is going back to what the original, the way the income tax was sold. A way to do that would put a minimum and maximum tax until we get the 16th Amendment appeal and get a fair tax, if that ever happens. We put a minimum tax of 1.9, no matter how many babies somebody has or how many municipal bonds, interest-free bonds they have, that they'll pay a minimum of 1.9%, of which 1% could go to a church, a hospital, or that's a church or a hospital, or a charity, and then the maximum tax of 19.9, of which 10% would go to a church, a hospital, or a charity. And then we'd start getting money into charities, and that way we wouldn't have to be beholden to the government. It's a lot easier to fire your minister than it is to fire a president or a senator or a congressman if things are messed up. So I think that would be a solution to this gentleman's question. Give money, give that 10%, let them give it to Blessing Hospital, or give it to their church, or 5% to the church, and 5% to the hospital. That way we would start getting things back. And that's the way it originally was in this country. A lot of things were done on a charity basis, not looking to the government to do it. You went to your church before you went to your Congress.